Greetings! Welcome to the devlog for hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. We're going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure your speakers aren't up too high. Wonderful. So what have we got going on here? This isn't a 1911 and this isn't a scene most of you have probably seen yet. Well, I have been hard at work at a bunch of interlinking systems that are really going to define the future of a whole bunch of H3's game modes, the way that ballistics and firearm cartridges are going to work in the game going forward. It's the center, the core of the alpha series that we are in now. So let's see what we've got here. Well, this is a new little testing scene that I've created called Proving Ground. Right now it's very simple, but as time goes on, it will end up getting more and more little things added into it that are useful for me for testing the ballistic system, agent systems, etc., but also be fun for you folks to play around with. I also have this very strange looking device. This is sort of a testing Uber gun that allows me to load parameters, mass, dimensions, and muzzle velocity of a bunch of different cartridge types, as well as the essentially the projectile shape, which is expanding, slug, jacketed, or penetrator. It also allows me to do a couple other fun things for testing purposes. I can click down on the touchpad to kinematic lock it so that I can release it and have it in the air. I can click left or right on the touchpad with it to enable an aiming laser that allows me to line it up, release it, check where it's going to be aimed at something, and I can even point at this little fire button on the back from a distance, so I can say stand here, fire it, and watch what happens. So, along with that, this is basically firing a new type of projectile that is using our new ballistic system. I'm going to turn on bullet trails here to 5 seconds so you can see these in action. There's no tracers on them yet. I still need to do that. But one of the things that you'll notice right out of the gate is that we get significantly more interesting and accurate ricochet behavior just on our sort of impenetrable concrete material that the environment is made out of. We fire down enough into the ground, the projectile actually just shatters against it at shallower and shallower angles. We get more and more interesting behavior, and you'll notice it's not perfectly symmetric, just like real bullet ricochets. So you can actually aim at the ground to have shots sort of come up very, very acutely at a distance. So what should we play with first here? Well, I've got a bunch of sort of test objects spawned in the environment for playing around with the ricochet and penetration behavior of various materials. You're going to see wood over here in 3 different thicknesses. We've got about a centimeter or so. We've got a thicker board here that's probably about 3 inches, and then we've got a larger one here. It's about 1 foot or so that's meant to represent sort of really thick tree trunks. These are abstracted types, so it isn't reacting to the exact thickness as back when I tried to simulate that in the prior version. It was just uncontrollable and too computationally expensive to get accurate thickness on arbitrary objects. And so these are sort of like wood thin, wood medium, wood thick. We've got this for concrete-esque materials, so we've got something like thin drywall here, we've got something like a several-inch concrete barrier, and then just solid concrete. This is the same material the room is built out of. And then over here we've got metal in very, very thin plates, so that's like, 2 millimeters or so. We've got it here, which is like closer to 1 centimeter or so, and then we've got just a big, thick metal plate. I have these internally registered, I believe, as sheet, plate, and strut. So let's play around with some rounds and see what happens with these. So if we start with, say, 9mm expanding, i.e. a hollow point, that's going to stop at our 1 wood board here. We upgrade that up to a jacketed round, and we actually get some penetration, not just through 1, but 2 boards. And we get some really interesting deflection behavior from it. Sweet! And then 9mm penetrator. We're getting that through 1, 2, 3 boards, and then it's finally losing all of its energy at the 4th. We can knock this up to say, but then let's compare those same rounds to our drywall here. Expanding. Jacketed still gets stopped by it. Penetrator will go through 1 layer of it, but we get increased deflection compared to the wood boards. Note also that the angle of the material that we're shooting at really matters for this. So in the case, let's see if we can get it to stop. 9mm penetrator. Yeah, see, if we're dead on it, it goes through. If we hit it at an angle, that's just enough to sort of deflect the energy and cause the penetrator to shatter. We can then go up to, say, something like a 5.56 here. So 5.56 hollow point. Gonna carve through our wood, stopped by our drywall. Our jacketed 5.56 is gonna go through all 4 of these wood boards and hit the backstop, whereas it's only gonna go through 1 layer of drywall, start tumbling, and stop at the 2nd. 5.56 penetrator. It's going to go through 2 to 3, and we get some cool deflection behavior, etc. I'm not going to go through all of them and everything here just because I will leave that for you to play with. There is seriously just a couple hours of messing around with all of our types. You can change the number of projectiles and their spread. So if you want to, say, load up a 12 gauge buck, set that to slug. 2-degree spread, 10 projectiles. You can get the behavior for that. Fantastic. Love those bullet trail patterns. Etc. Beautiful. So that isn't all, though. One of the other things that is coming in this week's update that I've been working on is the ability to spawn, just for testing purposes, and they are far from finished, the new type of agent that I have been working on, the Sosigs. So let's go ahead and spawn a few of these to take a look. It's going to spawn 5 of them randomly when I hit that button. Those who, most of you, I believe I've shown these in a devlog, but if not, they have definitely been shown on my Twitch streams. But we basically have this new multi-jointed agent. It's completely physics active. You can see I can actually grab parts of it. If I don't pull him too far away from his target point, he'll return to it. 3 joints, like so, and they can have these various accessories on them that actually have the same ballistic properties of what we have out there. So if we pull this back out, do 9mm expanding, his armor here is going to stop those shots. Let's go numb projectile 1 back there. They'll deflect at oblique angles. It'll stop it there. Whereas obviously just shooting him in the meat. Oh, bye, Mr. Sosig. Sorry about this. Testing. This is level 2 armor, which if we even say pull up to like a 5.56 jacketed, okay, it's going to stop it at oblique angles. Even direct shots, it'll stop, but their weaker Kevlar will not. So you can see he stumbles there from the hit, bleeds a bit, tries to stand back up. They've got several different internal representations of the types of damage they've taken, from being stunned to being staggered to bleeding out their delicious mustard. Oop. So let's see if we grab, let's see here, if we do say a 7.62x51 penetrator, that should go right through that vest. Oh, getting mustard everywhere. They're terrible at this. So come on over here. Same sort of thing if we get something like, say, 12 gauge buck, 10 shot, 2. If I just hit, say, his armor plate with this, it's going to deflect it. But the hitbox is accurate enough that if I aim at that little section in between them, I should be able to score some glancing hits. So even bots like this one that we can see is really, really head-to-toe armored here, very much protected from most shots. If you even just sort of continue the fire on them, you're going to be able to stagger them and then get at their weak points. Or, because of that deflection behavior we saw, you can find the recoil angle that will hit their feet, like so. Oof, and down that one goes. And of course, we can just pull out really, really powerful rounds that no armor should stop. So, like a 50 BMG jacketed, unlike the way it behaves right now in Taken Hold, where their armor's like invincible, this, let's line the shot up, is going to be quite effective. Oops, I hit that on 10 projectiles. Of course they're going to explode. So let's go ahead and clear all those. No, that is not clearing them all. I have to fix that. Spawn another set. So yes, as you saw with some of them here, we not only have hit decals for them, but we have the ability to have them actually be severed and see the inside of their hot doggy goodness. So we come over here, let's line up another penetrating shot with just one of those projectiles. 50 BMG. This is through level 2 armor into level 3. Hopefully it won't deflect too much. Oh, it deflected up, hit his mask, and he somehow did not die from it. Let's set it to penetrator. Boom. Right through. But notice how he didn't explode from it. Also, the other thing is you can see that we not only have those hit decals, but we actually have degradation occur on the sections as a texture swap to help. One of the things I'm really trying to improve is sort of visual hit registration, so you actually know that you're accomplishing something. Cool. So that's all working. So yeah, those are our various rounds. And then lastly, let's you can CQB with these fellas. So you can grab one of them and you can just whack one of them with it and knock them over because they're always physics active, which is super fun. And some of you might have seen on the stream, you can also just grab them by the base, grab them by the head, and break their necks. There you go. You go over there. So there you have it. Cool. I wish I knew why this wasn't clearing all of my SOSIGs. That is irritating. I will have to look into that in a moment. So I'm just going to go ahead and reload the scene. Cool. But you can do more than just use these as goofy little dummies. Let's spawn 10 of them. And then let's spawn some SOSA guns, 5 of them. We basically have a new type of butt gun that they can use. This is basically like a super simplified firearm. There's no extra interaction points on it, but it can be fired by the player, but can't be reloaded by the player. So, and what's cool is that they have the ability to actually pick these up. So what I can do, you have to do this still in a certain order. Sorry about that. I'm gonna set them to wander fight. So they're gonna run around, and the ones who can find a gun are gonna pick that gun up. The rest are just going to shoot around. They recognize each other as being on the same IFF right now, so they don't attack each other. Then I can set them to be on different IFFs, and all hell breaks loose. Oh no! Oh, that one won. Oh! Guess he wasn't finished off yet. And then sort of resumes his patrol route. Also, cool, I hope his gun is disarmed. I can actually take his gun right out of his hand. I can throw it, and he will run and try to get another. I can also take his gun and shoot him with it. Let's see. Is he down? Oh, he's struggling. Oh, he's got another gun. We gotta stop him. No. There we go. So they don't attack you. You can make them shoot at you by clicking player IFF enemy to bots, but I don't have them set up to damage you just yet. That is coming soon. But yeah, I hope you have fun with these. Oh, what are they shooting at? Oh, different IFFs. Still a little buggy, guys. Still getting it working. science. I think the armored one's gonna win. Yep, armored one wins again. Oh, what are you doing? He's dead. Why are you shooting him? We have a bot that's run amok. We have to put an end to this. No more. No more. What the hell have I made? Anywho, well, this is now in here for you to all play around with. Let's jump out of VR and talk about what I hope to get working for the next alpha.
Yo! Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I know I have been laughing my butt off the entire time working on these. I actually had a hilarious moment a couple days ago where that threshold for their joints breaking had been set way too low and you didn't have to grab them. And so when I got them moving for the first time, walking around hopping, they'd break into a run, break their spine, and fall to the ground, which I must admit I almost shot coffee out my nose and over my keyboard seeing. It has been fun. I'm trying to hit it, you know, if you're wondering where I'm trying to go with them in general, I'm trying to hit this sweet spot between them being actually tactically functional, interesting to fight against, lots of different ways you can engage with them, having them be able to use objects well and things like that, while still keeping a sort of like ridiculous slapstick humor, goofball sort of thing. I don't want them to seem scary. I don't want them to seem too serious. I want them to be ridiculous and absurd. And for you, frankly, to kind of feel a bit bad at them. They're bad at soldiering, being 6 foot tall sentient hot dogs, and so I really want to emphasize that. It's one of the things they'll be getting another set of voice lines, and rather than making them being wounded or killed grim, I want it to be really preposterous and self-aware and over the top. So that's going to be fun to do as well. In terms of getting more functionality for them over the next week, right now what I have working is all very much the SOSIGs being what's called locally concerned, meaning that if they don't have a weapon, they'll search for one, but they'll only sort of wander in a little area. They don't try to take cover yet at all, because that's a huge problem to solve design-wise and computationally, and they have no ability to sort of plan or path long-term. They're either sort of wandering in a very random way in a sort of guard pattern, or they're skirmishing locally, and that's about it. So the next phase with them, as I fill out some of their actions, things their hands can do, getting more equipment for them, is also being able to have them do something a little longer term. You know, ideally it should be the sort of thing where a bot, say, takes some takes some fire from 100 meters away, but it only has a handgun, so it can't engage effectively at that range. And so what it should be able to do is go, well, if I'm guarding something, I should take cover from that and not leave my post. But if I'm not guarding something, if I'm, say, on a patrol, I want to chase and engage that target, and it will need to long-term path to it, and then switch to a more sort of local, tactical way of fighting once it gets close to that target. So it's that type of, you know, short versus long range, task switching, objective comparing that I need to get working next, along with just tuning the existing behavior and sort of damage model that I have. I want to make it really nuanced. I want to make it the primary purpose in a big way behind how they're designed is to have a really wide verb set of how you want to play with them and how you want to fight them. I want to make it so that if you can, in whatever scenario these are in, if you want to go in the like, I don't have any weapons, I'm just going to distract them, misdirect them, steal their guns, you know, knock them out and keep going. Like, this is a system that actually supports you doing something close to a pacifist run. And that's really important to me. So for people who want to play sort of like stealth and guile and dodging around and throwing smoke bombs and messing with them, they can do do that, but if you also want to just play it in a ridiculous, over-the-top, Rambo-y way, you'll be able to do that as well. So, and that's one of the reasons why I want to get the melee systems working better and more nuanced, and why some of the CQB stuff that's here in terms of being able to like grab them, push them, disarm them is already in and going quite well. So yeah, so that is what is up right now. Oh, very importantly, with this alpha, I have, because I've been beginning the process of a ballistic system migration, I had to break a couple things. I basically broke the paper and IPSC style targets because they used some super legacy code to like figure out what point on the target you had shot. So I disabled the scenes that contain them. So sampler platter, indoor range, sniper range, and the breaching scene in the alpha that I'm pushing in an hour or so are disabled. So they'll be back next week. I realized at the last minute that I had broken those target systems and didn't have time to fix them yet. So that will be fixed though. So I hope that this new scene and just playing containment are enough entertainment for you for this coming week. Cool. Well, I hope you enjoyed. I look forward to hearing your feedback and, of course, probably hearing about all the bugs that, that exist in this. Try to keep the feedback centered just towards this proving range because I haven't been touching anything else yet. Towards the end of the alpha cycle, I'll start making sort of bug fixes and tweaks to stuff that you folks have already brought up since this alpha cycle began. So, hope you have fun and have a wonderful weekend. Peace.